Okay, so welcome back to Gumade's Coins and Banknotes, and today we have a 10 shilling from New Zealand. So I've had this for quite a while, but this one is one of my ones I've put on eBay for sale. So this is actually the last series, and you can tell because of the signature and also the serial numbers. And there's also with the last signature, so this is Fleming. We have two different varieties, and the two varieties just are with the security thread and without the security thread. So let's put under a light. You can see this one has a security thread going down the actual banknote. So this banknote dates from the last period of issue 1960-1967. If you have one with the signature without the security thread, it's from 1956 to 1960. So, but they would have all circulated up until the end of pre-decimal currency when New Zealand changed to the New Zealand dollar, which they use now. Okay, so the most striking feature you're going to see is they have Captain Cook. So in Australia, if you don't know who he is, he was an explorer and he died in Hawaii. There's a lot of information on the internet you can find about him, so we won't go into it here. And he's also on the watermark of Australia's pre-decimal banknotes from the Elizabeth II series and the paper banknotes. Okay, then we have the coat of arms. So he has on the actual. On my left we have a woman with a New Zealand flag, so she's a settler or an invader, whichever one you want to call it. And on the right we have a Maori with a spear. And you can tell they're both different ethnic groups based on the clothing. And then we have the UK flag up the top. So that's UK flag, UK line. And then we have very simple, so we have the Southern Cross. We have 3 ships for the overseas territory. We have a sheep and a drover. We have ironworking. And this one I can't tell. It looks like it might be a cornucopia, so food, but I'm not going to look it up. Okay, so this is actually quite nice. You can see the background, the jagged lines. Okay, the watermark is a Maori, so it doesn't show up really that well here. But on a crisp banknote, it actually turn up a lot clearer. If I turn it over, can you see a lot better? Yeah, probably not. Okay, so the watermark is actually quite faint. Current banknotes actually have a lot better watermarks. And all this is just thin and thick paper stamped together. Okay, so these banknotes are in circulation with this design from 1940-1967. And in today's currency, New Zealand is equivalent to $1 New Zealand dollar, so it's the same exchange rate that they used in Australia. In this condition, you're probably paying about $30 for one of these banknotes. The £1 is a lot more common, and I don't know how many were actually printed, but based on the prefixes, this goes up to 9. I've said 9, so that's 9. Oh, probably more than 9 million, because then you got 26 letters of the alphabet. Not too sure if all the letters were used, but I'd say only specific letters were used on the actual alphabet. Then we go on the back. We have a Kiwi, so that was also on the first issue of the 10 shillings in 1934 with the Maori, and that's actually a very expensive banknote. And here we have a Maori signing. I don't think that they were literate, so whether it's legitimate. Anyway, the Treaty of Waitangi in 1840, and that's the peace treaty between the Maori and New Zealand British colonial government, and it's still in effect as far as I know. So these are printed by Thomas de la Rue, Reserve Bank of New Zealand, which is the central bank. And we have 10 shillings, so it doesn't, 10 shillings doesn't give a £0.5. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Not in New Zealand currency. So if you got one of these in this condition, yeah, probably about 30 Australian dollars, which is pretty equivalent to New Zealand dollars. But what you're looking for is errors, and probably the Wilson issue, which is only issued from 1955 to 1956. So that is the scarcest, and I've never actually seen one for sale. Okay, so this is the banknote on Numistar. It's actually quite a nice website. So you can see 1940, 1967. We have the dimensions 140mm to 78. We have the free signatures, and it gives the date of issue. So this is the scarcest one you want. So the 158B, and it gives some prices that people purchased them in the past, and it also gives some values of sold items. So very fine. Yeah, this one's the scarce signature. So that's why that one's 135 and very fine. If you go down below, you get this one's in fine, sold for $10. You're not really going to get it for $10 these days. That's a bit over a year ago. And here we have XF, so pretty much they get pretty expensive as you go up the actual grade. So if you want to buy any of these, you can see that they're actually not that scarce on eBay. Got up to 9, 8, 6. I'm looking at the prefixes here. So yeah, these ones are the ones for sale. So now, just because they have these prices doesn't mean that's how much they sell for. So we go to sold items to see what turns up. Okay, this is the expensive banknote you want, so that's the first issue. Yeah, pretty good, 49. Wow, they've gone up. So pretty low grade, you're getting about 23. Okay, $1. That I would definitely have snapped up, but look at the postage. So that cancels out the actual what you paid for it. Then you got the whole set. So not too many have sold, and then we've got decimal banknotes. Okay, so yeah, basically I'd stick with the $30, probably even $40 for that banknote. Anyway, hope this helps you with your New Zealand banknotes and coin collecting. Let me know what you think of that banknote. I think it's a bit boring. Anyway, thank you and goodbye.